Alright guys, it's round 4. We move into the one-loss bracket. On the left, it's Jonathan Wright, who, I'm not sure who he lost to or what archetype that is, rather. But he is on his tried and true Esper control, as we see him resolve a turn 2 Thoughtseize, revealing the following hand from the local legend Adam Vickers in his mono black devotion deck. 2 lands, Nightveil Spectre, Underworld Connections, 2 Devour Flesh, and a Grey Merchant. I think we take Underworld Connections here. And I guess it depends on what our removal suite looks like, if we can deal with that Spectre, but Connections the most important card here. And Jonathan agrees. And Underworld Connections is the ultimate decision. Yeah, so Adam's deck, you do see the blue Scry lands. He does, and as well as Water Eagers, he does have a blue splash for Notion Thief, which we famously saw on our F&M stream get the better part of a Sphinx's Revelation one week. As well, I think some number of counterspells in the sideboard as well. So not just Temple of Deceit for Scry purposes, an honest-to-goodness blue splash out of Adam's deck. So Jonathan finds a Mutavault. That lets him cast a Jace, Architect of Thought. This won't answer the Nightveil Spectre exactly. So let's see if Adam can get any business off of it. Attacks in for 1. More importantly, gets the trigger, revealing Temple of Enlightenment. Might as well go ahead and play that unless we have a 4-drop we somehow need to cast. He is going to play that. Scry a card to the bottom, but more importantly, picking up a white mana source should that Spectre get in for another hit later, revealing a white card. So Jace minus, revealing Temple of Deceit, Sphinx's Rev, and a D-Sphere. Adam's going to give him the land with the Rev if he wants it, because that D-Sphere is likely what Jonathan needs to answer the Spectre currently. Spectre a little bit difficult to deal with, as it doesn't die to Doomblade or Ultimate Price, but does die to a Last Breath. But again, not sure how many of those Jonathan has in his deck. And there is the D-Sphere, and Adam, knowing he can't ever get rid of that D-Sphere, is going to go ahead and cast one of his dead Devour Flashes just to gain some life. D-Sphere is a May, whereas Oblivion Ring was a mandatory trigger. So if we were in an O-Ring world, Adam could do that in response to the O-Ring being cast, and then Jonathan would be forced to D-Sphere his own Jace, but that's not the way it works now. So there's a Grey Merchant just for 2, but it does put a body on board, drops Jonathan down to 15. Had a couple of Detention Sphere-based rules questions so far today. So another Jace, a -2, revealing Hallowed Fountain, Azorius Charm, and Temple of Deceit here. So 2 lands or the card draw. That's how Adam values these piles. So another Temple from Adam. He's struggling to find some business here. He does have a Mutavault, and that with the Grey Merchant should be able to take care of that Jace. So I'm sure Azorius Charm or Last Breath or something is going to get in the way here. Both at Jace. Doomblade on the Mutavault. Are we going to spend another removal spell on the Gray Merchant, or are we just going to let Jace hit the bin? Nope, we're going to Azorius Charm on the Gray Merchant, so effectively trading 2 life to keep your Planeswalker around. Let's see if Adam has a follow-up. He does not, so struggling for business here. We know the mono black deck has some very aggressive draws. This not one of them. As Adam still has another Devour Flesh stranded in his hand. No permanents on board. So we tick up the Jace, then we replace it. So there's a delayed Jace trigger on the stack for Adam's next combat step, and then we're going to draw some cards with the fresh Jace here, revealing Elspeth, Mutavault, and a land. Elspeth or no? And correctly so, as Jonathan snaps it up immediately and serves the turn back here. So Adam down to literally no business since his Mutavault's gone. We're going to recast our Gray Merchant. Put Jonathan down to 13. Adam goes back up, or goes up to 27, I should say, but still not looking good as Jonathan has the ability to untap land and Elspeth and go from there. We bin our Jace, revealing 3 lands, so it's the Scry or the 2 lands. Pick which kind of value you want, and Jonathan takes the 2 islands. So he will be able to leave up 1 mana if he decides to go for the oh, and there's a Thoughtseize revealing a somewhat pathetic hand from Adam at this stage in the game. Bile Blight's down. That will save his tokens. Path is clear. Elspeth hits the board. We're going to make 3 tokens and go from there. So Adam needs to draw a Hero's Downfall this turn. This game is likely out of reach for him. Another Gray Merchant. So a Gray Merchant off the top puts Jonathan down to 9. I guess we can live in the hopes of drawing the other 2 Gray Merchants and eventually draining Adam for exactly lethal. As 1 Gray Merchant gets chump blocked by a Soldier token here. D-Sphere going to be pretty brutal here if we can find it. We see another copy of Jace in Jonathan's hand. Looks like that's the play. So there's a Jace. I'm going to tick it up and draw some cards. Doomblade, 2 lands, so it's a Temple. Yeah, I would say the Temple or the... Oh, I don't like that at all. Yeah, and I think that original split Adam had of Basic Plains Doomblade was probably the way to go there, as the Doomblade is basically dead in this matchup, especially with no Mutavaults on board for Adam. And that Scry is pretty important. Leaving it on top, Jonathan's going to go and make 3 more soldiers and pass the turn back. No counter magic out of Jonathan so far this game, so you can only imagine there's a Dissolve sitting in his hand. Looks like a Nightveil Spectre. No, an Underworld Connections. Likely targeting his Temple. Yep. It sticks, so no Dissolve in play. Serve in. More than likely double chumping here with some tokens. Oh no, we're just trying to get one out of the way here. So we know Adam has a Devour Flesh in his hand. He's going to go ahead and draw a card here. So the Gray Merchant's only going to be able to kill 1 token. He could cast Devour Flesh, but Jonathan would just sack the token that's blocking that's chump blocking. So no real good solutions there to that situation from Adam. Let's see what the card he drew was. And it was a Mutavault. So just passing the turn back here. Elspeth 2 turns away from ultimating. Looks like Jonathan has his Aetherling in hand as well, too. Well, no, it's just another copy of Jay's Architect, I thought. He's drawn... He must have 7 of them in his deck, because he's drawn all of them this game. So Mutavault loads up, and we start serving in here, knocking Adam down to 26. Tick up the Jace, tick up our Elspeth. Make some more tokens. Play a land. And then just pass back. He does have his Aetherling, but feels no immediate need to run it out. Thoughtseize from Vickers. It's going to get dissolved. Draw a card off Connections. So leaving one on top there from the temple, but I'm trying to envision a sequence of cards that Adam needs to draw in order to come out of this game. So next turn with an Elspeth Ultimate, attacking with 5 3/3s and the Mutavault for 4. That's 19. That's still not going to be enough. So Jonathan more than likely is going to tick up his Elspeth again. Serve with everybody. Chase delay trigger is in play. So here's a split from Jace revealing a Sphinx's Revelation, which all but seals up this game. So Servant with 2 soldier tokens here. Adam goes down to 23. D-Sphere, targeting Underworld Connections. Tick up Elspeth again, basically put the game away next turn. If we played the Aetherling there, we can just lock it up next turn. We do have blue mana available to blink it, but Adam's seen enough. Like I said, I don't think there's any sequence of cards that he could draw there that would get him out of that. So Jonathan getting the better of game 1 here. I'm going to step outside and see if I can find deck lists. So Adam's down a game here in our round 4 feature match. Loser of this one probably out of the tournament. So pretty important here. He is resolving a turn 1 Thoughtseize, revealing 2 lands, Jace, Dark Betrayal, 2 Thoughtseize, and a Dissolve. Yikes. Can't cast any of these black cards here. Wants to take the Jace. So Jonathan with a very interesting keep here. He is on the draw. He is one leaving one on top. That must be a black land. I can't imagine any other cards you would leave on top. So let's see him windmill slam this watery grape. There's a Temple of Deceit from Adam, but no follow-up. No, here we go. Another Thoughtseize. It was a Mutavault. So there's a Sphinx's Rev we're going to take. And he's drawn another. He has drawn the Mutavault. That was the unknown card. There's the Mutavault into play. Still no black mana. We know that Vickers has a Underworld Connections in his hand. He can't cast it, or chooses not to cast it this turn. As Jonathan misses his 4th land drop, still with no black. Here's the Underworld Connections. We know that's going to get met with the Dissolve. Looks like Jonathan found his land. Nope. I guess it's another counterspell. Oh, wow. Jonathan running pretty good here. Finding another Dissolve on top. He's going to shove this card. Let's see if he finds a black Manosaurus. Looks like he doesn't. Nope, just another blue Manosaurus. So does he have a Jace in his hand? I can't tell. Mutavault just getting in there. Got nothing better to do. And he's winning this race here. So Adam should feel pretty comfortable here to resolve whatever he wants to. And he's just gone with a Gray Merchant. So uses all of his mana here, but not too much of a concern. And Jonathan just passing back here. It's kind of a miracle that Adam hasn't locked this game up already. Jonathan's hand, I think, has Aetherling and, as we see another Gray Merchant. I think Jonathan's hand had Aetherling and Elspeth in it. And there's a Verdict off the top. Good grief. Jonathan, living on the razor's edge. There's a Desecration Demon. It's a 2-turn clock as it stands. There's a Jace Architect. I thought surely we're going to find a black land here. Island, plains, islands. 2 more lands, so at least we know that Aetherling or Elspeth will come down next turn, barring anything else. But so Jonathan does have the opportunity to sack his Mutavault here. He's not going to do that. It's going to go down to 6. And Adam has nothing to follow up with. This game is very weird. This is a very strange game of Magic that we're watching here, guys. And there is Elspeth, so we'll see if Adam has a Hero's Downfall here. Oh, he's going to correctly -3. Oh, dang. Here's the Notion Thief. Oh, it doesn't do anything. It just attacks for 3, killing the Elspeth. I got too excited there. That's my apologies. Don't know why we didn't draw a card off the Underworld Connections, as a Thoughtseize or Duress here would still be pretty good. So the Notion Thief, not for any value. Let's read how Jace... read how Jace reads. I think it says put it into your hand, so I don't think we're going to have any issues here with interaction. Yep, you just put them into your hand. Gosh, that dual deck Jace is ugly. So the Verdict goes on bottom. We take the counter magic as the Warhammer players outside are getting really loud. Jonathan dropping down to 4 here. And a Dark Betrayal finally going to take out something. Draw a card off Underworld Connections, go to 19. Gray Merchant's lethal here. Unlikely that it will resolve, but Thoughtseize or Duress into Gray Merchant would be good here. No, nothing from Adam again. And sandbagging that underworld connection is not going to do anything on his main phase. So ticking up the Jace, there's a D-Sphere on underworld connections. In response, Adam's certainly going to draw a card. But it is gone. So card advantage from Adam dealt with for the meantime. So 3 mana for a Night Veil Spectre. Interesting that Jonathan chooses not to fire off his Thoughtseize at this point. He may feel like he just doesn't want to lose to a Grey Merchant. Likely the best line of attack here. Now he's doing it. Thoughtseize on Adam. In response, flashes in a Notion Thief just to get it out of his hand and get a clock on board. Jonathan can syncopate for... Oh. In response, Jonathan's going to rev so that he can actually draw the cards. Go up to 7 here. He is tapped out. Thoughtseize resolved. It's just a swamp. So with the Notion Thief attack, Jonathan's life total effectively 3. So a Grey Merchant off the top will be lethal here. Exactly lethal. So before he passes back, Jonathan's going to scry one to the bottom off a Temple. Let's see if there's a Grey Merchant on top. There's the swamp we knew about. Serving with the Notion Thief, knocking Jonathan down to 3. And it's a not irrelevant card from Adam. So I feel like that was our window to try and win this game if we were going to. Because Jonathan just has too many cards now. He can effectively draw 3 deeper into his deck off of this Jace, revealing another Rev, a Dark Betrayal. So, Sphinx's Rev or a Dark Betrayal. He chooses the Rev. D-Sphere on the Notion Thief. I guess Adam is somewhat obliged to cut the Dark Betrayal on the 1 pile. Then Jonathan discarding the hand size. There's a Watery Grave and just passes back. Every turn it feels like this one's slipping away from Adam here. Might as well tap out. Very unlikely that Adam has a 3rd Notion Thief. So draw 3, gain 3, go up to 6. And at this point, with just 1 card in Adam's hand, which is more than likely a land, it just feels like nothing is ever going to resolve. Adam needs to draw, I don't know, 4 threats off the top to even have a chance here. And here's Elspeth. No, here's Aetherling. Aetherling plus Mutavault is a 2-turn clock. Discard to hand size. There's another swamp from Adam, so he's flooding out severely here. Pump it 4 times. The next turn he can attack with the Mutavault, and that would be exactly lethal. And like I say, it's very unlikely that there's not a dissolve in Jonathan's hand, so this is pretty much all for naught, I would figure here. 1 last scry land for good measure. Tick up Jace. Then blink his Aetherling. There's a Duress. I mean, you know that's the card that Adam just drew, so you just let it resolve. Unless you have a dissolve, in which case you probably dissolve it and just get your scry off of it. But Adam is dead next turn. Assuming Jonathan attacks with this Mutavault, this game is over. Jonathan's still going to go through the motions. A revoke or 2 scry lands. Yep, Jonathan feels like the game is well enough in hand, doesn't need to take the additional mana, just gets the revoke. There's a Thoughtseize. Oh, it is a relevant card here. 3 mana for a Hero's Downfall on the Aetherling. If we counter this, we still have enough mana to make everything lethal, so yep, we can do it. Nope, we're just going to do it next turn. And attacks in with his Mutavault. And Adam is well and truly dead on board, having fogged for a turn with that removal spell. Don't think there's anything in this deck that will get the job done here. It looks like a Desecration Demon off the top. No, it's an Erebos. So Jonathan can either counter this or can counter whatever Adam draws off of it. He just passes back, dead on board. So unless something, we're going to revoke first. Go to 7, draw a card. Go to 6, draw a card. And offer the hand. So the Esper control deck of Jonathan Wright getting the better of Vickers. Remember that game started off with Jonathan keeping a 2-land hand with no black mana and 3 black cards in it. And somehow he drew his way out of it. Adam just could not find enough business to put a pressure on Adam, or on Jonathan. That's the problem we talk about all the time when you sideboard against a control deck. You have to make your deck fundamentally worse to bring in the anti-control cards. Sometimes you just need more business. So we got 20 minutes left in the round. Jonathan moves on to 3-1, is still drawing a line to the top 8. Adam, unfortunately, probably done for the day, but a good showing by him. We're going to step outside, guys, and we'll be back for round 4 shortly. Round 5, I should say, shortly.